This is Peace Time television from WYOU in Madison, Wisconsin, the 2nd of December, 2012. And I guess we should, 2012? Yeah. I forgot already.
We're trying to get this thing in quick because obviously the world's going to come to an end.
When? What is it, 24th?
The world, yeah.
24th.
Somewhere around there, the end of the world.
Calendar.
So anyway, quick intros, and then we'll chat on. My name is Dave Soumis. I'm with Veterans for Peace. And let's see, I was in the military, Air Force, 1969 through 1973, with 1 year in Vietnam during 1972, and was stationed up in the Central Highlands during the Easter Offensive of 72. You should look that one up. It was real, you know. Then I got out and I was in the Navy for 10 years from 1976 through 1986. I didn't have enough the first time. And from over here on my left is a distinguished looking guy.
Hello, my name is Lars Prip, and I was in the Marines from 1967 to 1973. Did a year in Vietnam and decided that Marine Corps was not my chosen profession. So we're going to move on over here to our guest blogger, and we'll let him introduce himself.
I am me. Should I elaborate?
Tell us your name.
I am me. I was in junior college ROTC from 1974 to 1976. And that's my military experience, and this is actually my fatigue shirt from 30 years ago. But I do a blog in which I talk about a lot of the same things that we talk about here, and if you're interested in doing that, they might put something on the bottom of the screen there, but if you want to just Google Doug Latimer, questionable content, it should pop up. Speaking of popping
Pop that
up.
mic back up there, Doug.
So.
It's kind of limp like other stuff on myself. All right.
It's limp like Dear Misleader's conscience.
Yeah.
Dearest leader.
We were told not to play with our hands as much,
Right.
but
We're going to violate that rule.
I have to hold on to some. So we'll do the
I'm
mic.
trying to keep mine really still over here because I have a
We can't hit the
tendency to
table.
tap,
We can do
and
this.
we can do
Yeah.
this. But I'm going to behave myself and try to hold my hand steady.
Yeah. So anyway, what to talk about? Lindsay Lohan. She was in the news again the other day. Lindsay Lohan.
Lindsay Lohan?
Yeah, Lindsay Lohan.
We're being silly here,
she
folks,
beat
but
up
this is
somebody.
serious stuff.
Yeah, she assaulted somebody or something. She got arrested.
Is that the actress?
Yeah, the actress.
Okay.
Oh, well,
That's
you
like
guys...
that's like big news.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, you
That's
know...
big. Well, that and Hostess Twinkies. Those are the only things that
Twinkies.
matter,
Yeah.
folks. Is
Yeah,
Hostess
Hostess
Twinkies and
Twinkies.
Lindsay Lohan.
it is important though the fact that 18,000 people are going to lose their jobs from that Hostess Twinkie deal.
Right.
is important.
Because of unions.
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
the unions
Yeah.
were asking for too much money, as
Yeah.
always, of course.
But we wouldn't want to. What else was going on? There
Well,
was
you
some
do
other.
know that what's the difference between an actor and a politician?
What's that?
They're both professional liars.
All right. Yeah.
How about that?
And they
okay.
both work from scripts.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Oh,
Like-
sports.
Oh.
Sports is big.
Yeah,
there
sports
was.
is big.
We're in Madison, so the Badgers.
There was some game
Yeah, they played yesterday
played down Indiana.
in Indiana. Yeah, the Badgers won. They beat Nebraska. Now they're going to the Rose Bowl.
85,000 people in the
There'll
stadium?
be a sea of
85,000.
red and white migrating west in the next
Yeah,
few weeks.
yeah,
Yeah.
There was that, and then there was.
Oh, there was this little thing that happened half a world away where our
Israel?
money was used to murder people. Do you remember something like that?
No, that wasn't on the news.
It was on the news.
Oh, was it?
It was on the news. Absolutely.
Oh,
But
I
it
think
was,
you're
it was
talking
all
about
in the
the-
context of, our money being used to defend these beleaguered folks half a world away who are an island of sanity in a sea of chaos.
Okay.
Namely, the state of Israel.
Right.
Well, that must not have been totally on the news then. I guess it was quite a bit, but
Did they mention that they saw broken bodies and blown apart
They
kids?
showed a little of that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they want people to understand, that our weapons do work, I guess.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And they do work.
Yeah, they do.
The main weapon was used was the F-16 fighter, which actually
Okay.
worked as opposed to what's the one that doesn't work that we spent billions
Oh,
and
the
billions on?
22, F-22, is
Yeah,
that
that
one?
doesn't work, but
Yeah,
a lot of people
yeah.
made a lot of money off of it. It's worked for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It just hasn't worked for the pilots. It's things like what something's wrong with the airflow and things like that. Sometimes
Oh, okay.
guys
They
are-
also used a lot of drones, I understand, and a lot
drones,
of
yeah.
yeah,
We're good on
yeah, they're
drones.
good
We're
on
the
drones.
pros on drones.
Yeah,
Yeah, but nobody knows about that.
no.
It's
Our,
not
our,
in the
our
news.
fearless, dear Miss Leader has, made it clear that every nation, or no nation, would endure the kind of attacks Israel has endured without, defending itself.
Oh, except Pakistan maybe, or
Pakistan and
Afghanistan, Yemen,
Somalia,
yeah, yeah.
Somalia.
Yeah,
These
yeah.
nations, of course.
Libya.
Libya,
These nations, of course,
Philippines.
are not populated
Philippines.
by people.
What?
They're populated by
By
creatures that somewhat resemble us,
right.
but they are
Right.
not us, and they are certainly not the Israelis.
Well, it's not a crime when the United States does it.
This is true. We get it.
Right.
We have the ultimate get out of jail free card, and
Right.
it's known as the U.S. military.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, we
right.
got the big
But
stick.
let's talk about that a little
Got
bit.
the big stick.
I mean, we're entering, we're entering possibly the end times here.
That's
but,
what the Aztecs told us. I know that for
they,
a fact.
I think they got the number.
The
off-
24th?
They're off a
I don't
little
know,
bit.
it's sometime in December.
They're off a little bit.
Maybe the solstice,
Probably not
right?
that
Yeah.
much. But we need to talk about, I think, what the future of the U.S. military is, because I don't think you're going to see what we saw, in 2004 and 2001, where you had these, massive troop movements,
Right,
massive
right.
invasions, occupation. You might see an occupation of some sort, but things are moving toward a more antiseptic.
Yeah.
That's if that isn't newspeak, I guess nothing is, because when we talk about antiseptic, of course, we're talking about our soldiers are not going to be put in harm's
Right.
way.
Right.
The images from Gaza shows the people who are going to be put in harm's way.
Right.
So nothing
Septic-
antiseptic about a missile from an F-16 slamming into somebody's home,
We
or
went
a soccer
from
field, or
Yeah.
a media center,
right.
which are of course all military targets.
We went from surgical strikes to septical strikes.
Septical.
This all sounds medical to me.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So-
well, it is surgical, because many
Yeah.
people who are hit by these, if they survive, do indeed lose limbs, and
Right.
they undergo some
Yeah.
sort of surgery to keep them
And-
alive.
Half the blocks get blown away.
I mean,
Innocent civilians.
I guess maybe one way to talk about this is just as you were saying, it wasn't on the news. It was on the news, but the reality wasn't on the news.
Right, right.
This is, what can you call it? It's like Alice in Wonderland, meets the Blitzkrieg.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Right.
the core press, to hear it from their lips, you had this incessant. He's using his hands.
You have to express
Have to
yourself.
express
You have to be able
yourself,
to express
yeah.
yourself. No
this
problem.
incessant,
We don't care about
I'm doing
hands.
pretty
This
good.
incessant raining of rocket fire, onto poor innocent Israelis, and this is why why the government had to. That's actually, of course, not what happened. What did happen was that there had been, relative quiet there, and of course, the other thing people don't understand is that Hamas, and I'm not wearing Hamas lapel here or any pin, or Hamas has its problems. It's a fundamentalist organization, and I think the Palestinian people deserve better than that. And I'm not talking about the PA either. It's kind of a pox on all their houses. But what I'm trying to get at is they have abided by the many truces that have been made between the IDF and the various militant factions in Gaza. It has been Israel which breaks these truces. Okay. This is something that if you were reading AP stories or reading the New York Times, you might find the New York Times is an interesting thing, because the New York Times will sometimes put the truth, or often put the truth, somewhere on paragraph 37 or something, whereas the AP oftentimes just leaves it out completely. And we're not talking about Fox News here, because that goes unsaid.
That's kind of an oxymoron, isn't it?
Fox
News?
It's
Yeah.
military
Yeah.
intelligence.
Judge, yeah.
But what I'm trying to get at in a very long-winded and tortured way is that most people, even if they thought it was terrible what happened to the Gazans, would say, well, what else could be done? These rockets were being fired. That isn't the reality. We also have to understand that al-Abadi, I believe, was a Hamas leader who was assassinated.
Right.
That's something they picked up from us. They didn't pick it up from most folks. It's something we assassinate people, and so that makes it all right for everybody else. Like you said, if the U.S. does it, it can't be wrong. And then by proxy or by by extrapolation, if another nation does it, not to us but to someone we don't like, then it's not wrong either.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But he was assassinated. He had just received the text of a truce, and next thing you know, he gets a surgical strike on his car, and he's gone. Which kind of tells you something about whether or not Israel wanted to have a truce. Israel didn't want to have a truce. Israel wanted to have a dry run for what may end up being the case of an invasion or an attack on Iran. They wanted to try various things out. They had this thing called the Iron Dome, I believe is what it's called,
Right.
a missile defense system. They wanted to see how that worked against the Gaza missiles.
Right.
So it was basically the people of Gaza, however many that is. I don't know what the population is, but it's basically they were all target practice. That's what they were. And the fact that most Americans really don't give a damn. On the one hand, yes, I mean, we don't know. But on the other hand, do we care? How many Americans really care about,
How many
Palestinians?
Americans were paying attention to it?
Well, that's the other thing. They were worried about Lindsay Lohan, or they were
Right,
worried about
exactly.
Hostess Twinkies going out of existence. Or they were
Football
getting
game?
ready for Black Friday.
Yeah,
Black Friday
Black
is a biggie.
Friday.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I
that's-
mean, look at here, Thanksgiving, we give thanks for all the wonderful things we have in the United States, and Friday we're out killing each other over it.
Well, let's put it this way, another way. I mean, to move from, and it's all connected. I mean, this isn't U.S. militarism per se, and I guess that's the overarching topic that we try to talk about. But you've seen lately maybe some hopeful signs of people in this country not taking it anymore. The courage of the people of Gaza, I think, goes without saying. But you've seen folks. There were supposedly 1,000 actions that took place at various Walmarts across the country. You had fast food workers in New York City Friday or Thursday or Friday striking.
Right.
These are people who make $7.25 an hour in New York City. You can't live on that in Baraboo.
Well, you get
Right,
three
right.
jobs done, which is, of course, uniquely
Or
American.
you live by your fingernails on public assistance, which we pay for.
Right.
It's not blaming the people who are on it. It's just showing you how insane this whole thing is.
Well,
But
there's-
where's that money going to, or how that money, how it connects into U.S. militarism is, they get public assistance. What is public assistance? How much is that, $400 and something bucks a month, something
yeah,
like
something like that.
that? You
Yeah.
can live
Yeah.
on $4,800 a year?
Yeah.
Sure. Well, where's the money going from? It's not going to people who need it. Where is it going?
Oh, bombs.
We were talking about F-16s earlier.
Yeah, F-16s, bombs,
Yeah,
drones.
F-22s.
Oh, don't
Yeah.
forget about the drones.
Drones.
Drones,
And the election.
yeah. And the
We
election.
just got through with the $6 billion election.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we
I
elected.
I didn't give anything to it. I wasn't going to give anything to it, but it wouldn't have mattered if I'd given $100 or whatever, because that's not what it's all about.
and
It's all
our,
about the big money. It's about Sheldon Alderson or whatever
Right.
his name is. It's about Donald Trump. It's about the wonderful people who gave to Obama's campaign, because
Right.
of course the Republicans are the bad guys. And
right.
the Democrats are
Are
the
the
good
good
guys.
guys.
And if
There's
you say
not much
anything against
difference.
the Democrats online, you're going to catch a lot of shit from all
Right.
the wonderful progressives and all the
Yeah.
liberals.
Well, there's
Yeah.
really not much difference in our military policy.
none.
None at all, really.
There's some. I mean, in that, for the part of the elite that the Democrats represent, they are not keen on an attack on Iran at this point.
I completely forgot. We forgot to mention Petraeus and his sex
Oh,
scandal.
Petraeus, yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Well, it also
Yeah.
shows you something as well, though. It shows you, how pervasive, the surveillance state is. Because here's this guy. He's the head of the friggin' CIA.
Right?
I mean, it's certainly, ironic justice. So on that end, okay, that's wonderful. But it shows you that, even he can end up in a situation like that.
Yeah.
If there are other circumstances that are part of it. It wasn't just that he was caught in a sex scandal. I think there were other things
Well, he got
going
some.
on, that
He got some little nookie on the side, and then there was the stained dress thing with Clinton. Remember that? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
we
yeah.
must have spent millions and millions of dollars wasting our time on these investigations of sex scandals. Oh my
But
God!
you can get into the morality of that.
Yeah.
and all
Yeah.
that, but the thing of it is, of course, is that dominates the headlines.
Sure.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, of course, you've got
Gaza.
obviously, Gaza. You've got obviously the people of Haiti who were facing after Sandy, some dozens of them were killed. But
Right.
it's also worsened the conditions for cholera, which were brought to Haiti by UN peacekeeping force.
Mm-hmm.
These people were coming from a country where cholera, this particular strain of cholera, was something that needed to be, obviously, if you're sending people to another country, they need to be checked to see. That didn't happen. All this money that was, committed to supposedly make Haiti or to improve the situation in Haiti, a fraction of that is delivered. Meanwhile, I see online, I'm going online, I go to the Merriam-Webster website or something like that, and there's a ad for the Bill Clinton Foundation.
Oh.
And Bill Clinton, of course, is doing wonderful things in Haiti.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing he's doing in Haiti, of course, is covering up for our policy there and covering up for the corporations that make money. I guess the big thing, do they still sew baseballs anymore? That was the big thing.
Yeah,
Well,
years
that
ago,
was,
right?
yeah,
You guys
yeah.
making
Yeah.
a penny a year on selling stuff like that.
Right.
But during this Petraeus thing,
Petraeus.
yeah, you didn't hear too much about Afghanistan. You didn't hear too much about Iraq. You didn't
Well, of
hear
course, he was
too
in
much
charge of
about.
Afghanistan.
Yeah, yeah. You
He was in
didn't.
charge
All of a
that.
sudden, that was off the. It also broke just about the same time the elections was happening, wasn't it?
Well,
What was
happened.
it?
That
Yeah,
happened after. The
yeah.
whole thing is supposedly that they held off on something like, or was that part of the deal? They held off on something until after the election. I mean, the Democrats can be as, they can certainly be as surreptitious and as
Manipulative
manipulative
as.
as the Republicans, but it gives me no end of amusement. When the Republicans, point to the transgressions of the Democrats as they love to do on things like that and on other things, or when it comes to something like the attack on the embassy in Benghazi.
Wasn't there also another general that was being investigated?
Oh,
along-
yeah, Allen.
Allen, I think it was,
Allen,
yeah,
something like
yeah.
that. So,
As
yeah.
if having sex is such a bad thing,
Well,
It's
sex is
like-
not a bad thing.
thing,
You get
but-
into all this whole thing
Yeah.
about betrayal and all.
Yeah.
Who knows what their relationship, the marital relationship was like, and we can spend the rest of the time talking about the morality of infidelity if we want
Right.
to, but I think we probably ought to move on to.
Who was it,
Second.
Mr. George Carlin, who had a skit about that, where he says that it's they give medals to soldiers for killing people, but somehow there's something wrong with giving a woman an orgasm. I thought it was I thought it was an interesting skit.
No, I mean, sex is.
Yeah. I missed that one. I should.
Yeah,
check it out,
we
right?
should check that out. I'll
Uh,
send it to you when I get
Yeah,
home.
please. Yeah, let's we don't, the time is like flying. I don't know. We must. It just
It's-
goes by. I mean, we're
it's-
down
it's
to
Doug.
like a few minutes already.
It's Doug.
Yeah, is
He's
that
on a
what it is?
roll.
Wow.
And I wish this had
7?
been more cogent. We're kind of
Yeah.
flying by the seat of our collective
Yeah.
pants here.
Oh, whatever. It's all
Yeah.
good. One of the things earlier today we had a little meeting.
Yeah.
We were talking about cohesiveness among different organizations and movements, and one of the things we've noted that I don't want to term it like say the left or whatever, but
I don't like that
I don't
too.
like
What
that
does
at
it
all.
mean?
Yeah, I don't like that at all. We're people that are trying to work for peace, and we're anti-war people and stuff like that, or for justice and equality
We're
and
trying to do unto others
Yeah.
as they would do unto us.
right. And one of the things we were talking about, and it even happens within ourselves. Okay, so we're not trying to point fingers on everybody or whatever, because we do the same thing. But we were talking about the fact that as a movement in general, if you want to succeed, you have to have good communications and cooperation, and think about one another, and and act that way like you're trying to achieve, right? But we don't seem to even do that within our own organizations. We're not really being what's the word, sensitive or whatever to one another,
We're not being consistent.
consistent.
I mean, there's this amazing, and we can all enumerate numerous instances that anyone who's had any kind of contact with these groups can probably have their own stories about these things. But there seems to be this this disconnect between what we say, as you were just putting out the various things that we're working on, all
Right.
the things we want to impact in the world, and then how we treat each other within those organizations. And there can't be that disconnect. For any number of reasons. There's the moral reason. Obviously, you treat people the way
Right.
you want to be treated, as I think I garbled a minute ago. But at the same time, if you're going to be effective, that's the only way to be effective. You can't be effective. I mean, if you're going to have these kind of internal, internecine fights in this kind of hierarchical, setup that, unfortunately many organizations have, where you've got a top-down, kind of commandist structure. That was the term
Right.
I used to use when I was in an ostensibly Marxist-Leninist party, that, you're being
Yeah.
commandist.
Yeah.
That's going to turn people off. That's not going to get people, to be part of your organization. That's something that's always amazed me as well, is that every time, you go to any website, and they're always asking people to join the group and to do things, and then they seem to be bound and determined to put people off from doing that very
Right,
thing.
right.
You want someone to join your group, well, you could give them chocolate cookies, I guess, if you wanted to, but you wanted, I think people will respond to being treated, with respect. Make it feel like, their ideas have weight, that they can affect the direction of the group, that there's not just donating money
Right.
or selling a newspaper or doing grunt work. Those are all things we can do. But in the end, we have to feel like we have ownership of the group.
Right. And that you belong to the group.
Yeah.
And, I mean, can you guys, we can't enumerate any instances really where that's occurred.
Mm-hmm.
You
No,
get little
no.
fiefdoms, you get,
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
just kind of using things for their own end. And they may do good things. I mean, it's
Right,
not that
yeah.
these people are assholes 24/7.
Right.
People can
No,
put their
no,
butt on
they're
their
all,
hands and do incredible things.
yeah, they're passionate people. They have a cause, and they're taking care of business. I mean, there's no question about that. But it just seems that we're not all on the same page, and we're not. I guess it comes down to love and peace with one another, and inner peace, right? I mean, that's kind of what it is, and it's
Just
respect.
simple
Yeah.
respect and a simple
Yeah.
sense of, the term has all sorts of meanings to it, but I like the term, and I'll use the term comradeship.
Right. Right.
Community maybe is another term we can use.
Yeah. Definitely.
A
Yeah.
sense that we have responsibility for each other, we are accountable to each other,
And we
and we're
respect
gonna,
each other.
we're not gonna leave anybody hanging.
Right.
It's like you guys in the military had the, obviously had the, the value of, no man gets left behind.
Right.
Well, that's-
Sometimes.
That was the value. Whether
That
it
was
got
the
carried
value.
out was another thing. But I'm just saying that certainly is a laudable value. It's
Yeah.
the way we need to have. Nobody gets screwed.
Yeah.
Everyone gets valued, and everyone has a say in what goes on.
Right.
Doesn't mean you can't have leaders. We have to have leaders.
Yeah.
But as we were talking earlier, and I like to spout my little aphorisms,
Right.
is that, true leaders don't have any followers. They have fellow travelers. They
Right.
are equal. Maybe they have a skill to inspire or to organize or whatever, but they are accountable to the group as a whole. And they want to be.
Right.
It's not like you have to, take them kicking and dragging to be accountable. Is that they want to be. That's what
Yeah.
they say. So I'm going
Right.
to do this, or I've done this. All right. What's wrong? What's right with it? What can we do better about it? These aren't, but it isn't. It isn't a proposition from Wittgenstein. It's not rocket
Right.
science. It's just simple humanity,
Right.
empathy. That's all it is. It's not. I say it's simple. It's not, because we have all this shit that's been thrown into our heads, about trying to. I mean, as I've said before, humanity is the least evolved of
Right.
the various species. Everyone
Yeah.
else is probably at the height of their, whether it's
Right.
a snail dart or whatever. That's what they are. We can be so much more, and we haven't done it. Of course, it looks like we're never going to. But don't ever get the
Yeah.
idea that we're some kind of highly evolved species, because the history of humanity shows that's not the case. That's
Well-
not a cop out. That's not cynicism. It just means we got a long way to go, and let's
Yeah.
do it. Looks like we're getting the
Yeah, we're about out of time here again, unfortunately. So I think what we need to do is to become brothers and sisters in this cause and work closer together.
Well, there's
Um,
also the thing
yeah.
about honesty.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
honesty,
you
yeah.
have to be able to say things to people,
Yeah.
even though it's uncomfortable to say to them.
And to
Right.
do
And
that
to
in a
be
way that's
honest.
respectful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And that-
definitely.
Yeah.
And talk about the issues and be able to talk one-on-one or
Right.
within the group without somebody getting all defensive and slamming one another and tearing us apart is what happens. You're putting walls between us and not
There's-
accomplishing our goals.
There's already
So-
enough forces out there that's trying to do that
Yeah,
and
they're
succeeding.
trying.
Right.
Well, anyway, with that, I think we're out of time, so we'll say peace and
Well, thanks, folks.
Right.
we'll talk to you again real soon. Thank you.
This next tune's about a friend of ours who went over to fight the war in Iraq. But when he came home on leave, he tried to be a conscientious objector, and his request to do that was denied. And he was put up in prison for about a year. So we play this song to honor all our brothers and sisters fighting over in Iraq on both sides.
Woke him up with a barrel to his head, his eyes shut tight, bracing for the blow, resigning his life to the metal held in another man's hand. 20 days in a concrete fallout, where life about to take your arm. Oh my country, won't you call out? Doorbells are ringing with boxes of bones, and from another land's war-torn corners to a prison cell in my own. Punish me for not taking your orders, but don't lock me up for not leaving my own. Your words just a bloody fallacy, a house of cards you painted white, tried to recreate Normandy, but you made up a reason to fight, and now red oil is spilling down on the streets, and your eyes so big for the belly is weak. Will you not refuse this currency, or is blood money just money to you? Or is blood money just money to you? In a concrete fallout, where life about to take you on. Oh my country, won't you call out? Doorbells are ringing with boxes of bones, and from another land's war-torn corners to a prison cell in my own. Punish me for not taking your orders, but don't lock me up for not leaving my own. In a concrete fallout, where life about to take your own. Oh my country, won't you call out? Doorbells are ringing with boxes of bones, and from another land's war-torn corners to a prison cell in my own. Punish me for not taking your orders, but don't lock me up for not leaving my own. Camilo, leaving my home. Camilo, Camilo.